June is going to be a month of revival and a pouring out of blessings from the testimonies of the month of May. The month of May for me was a really trying month. I had a lot of tests in May. I had tests in my romantic life with Jonathan. I had tests in my family. I had tests in my business and in my finances. I had a lot of trials and a lot of tests. Like every day of this month was one thing after another. And I had a lot of tears this month. Almost every single day of the month of May, I was crying because of the trials, but also because of the blessings that God was showing me through the trials. What I want to say is June will be a month of revival, but the good days are just as important as the bad days, because the bad days produce the good days, right? We glory in tribulations because tribulations worketh patience, and patience experience, and experience hope, and hope maketh not ashamed. We need our good days. We need our bad days to show us the good in our good days. And I want to give you a practical application for this. So in my business, I manage 2 young, very talented Christian women as my employees underneath me. They're my designers. And I own a graphic design, web design agency. And they both really love working for my business, Style Child. They love their job. And I know they love their job because we ebb and flow a lot with our schedules, and they're committed, and these girls work hard, and they show up on time, and they go above and beyond in their work for my business, my small business. And I lead in a place of freedom, right? Because I love the Lord, I love Jesus, and I live in freedom. And I have a leadership role coming from the heart of a place of freedom, right? I freely give because God freely gives to me, and I understand that communication and that this business isn't my decision, this is His decision, right? I've surrendered it to Him. And I approach Him with that daily. But I want to say this. The only reason I know how to manage these 2 young ladies, and I've had, over the last 3 years, I've had 4 different employees. One gal, she came and she left, on her own accord. She found another role that she wanted to have more time to work on. It's fine. She came and she left. And another gal, I had to let her go. My finances were pretty hard on me last year, and she just wasn't the right fit for the business. So I've hired, I've fired, I've let go, I've lost. I've done this for a while now in having employees underneath me. And I've, led teams, event staff teams, and, I've taught, schools of children. And so I have quite a few years of leadership experience underneath me. But the only reason I know how to lead these young women, these employees, to be a good boss to them, the only reason I know how to be a good boss is because I've had so many bad bosses. I've had so much experience from the bad leadership in my life that I've learned and I've gleaned, okay, I don't want to lead like that. I don't want to be a boss like that. I don't want to sound like that. I don't want to act like that to my employees, because I've had terrible, lessons learned from bosses and experiences in my life. It's not because I'm a perfect leader. It's not because I studied how to be a good leader. It's not because I read a bunch of books and went to school for leadership. No. I know how to lead because God has shown me some really awful, hard situations with bosses. I've had a lot of days I've come home from work and I've been like, I was yelled at, I was ridiculed, I was shamed, I was gossiped on, I've had the gamut in my jobs, in my careers. And all of that produced a patience in me. All of that produced a life experience in me. Why did God This is a really common question that people ask a lot. Why did God put a tree of evil, of knowledge of good and evil, into the garden? Because he's a parent, because he wants you to be his child. He wants to show you there's no measure of good, of how good God can be, if there isn't something to measure it with. It's not because he wanted you to partake of the bad. It's just there is no good without understanding first what bad is. Does that make sense? And so God is going to use every bad day of this month of May that I have endured. And there's no such thing as like bad as in like you're a sinner, you're bad. Really, just sin is just from fear, right? So there's fear and there's love. There's good and there's evil, right? So love is good, fear is bad, evil, right? And so once you remove the fear of, oh my gosh, I'm in fear from all these bad days, and you just step into that place of perfect love, then hope will make you not ashamed. And that strong man of shame oftentimes is what prevents us from coming into that real new creation in our mind, right? Because we have a shame of like, oh, we've been so bad our whole life. We've sinned so much. We've just made bad choices. God doesn't see us like that, right? And those bad days have such a great purpose for what is to come, especially what is to come in the month of June. I'm anticipating an amazing revival, all popping up in little places all over the world in the month of June, and we're going to see it. We're going to see the fire of God. We're going to see the supernatural. We're going to see miracles, we're going to see dunamis power, and I don't mean that in like a light way. Like I mean like you're going to see it. You're going to see the fruit. You're going to see the manifestation. You're going to see the promise. So I love you all. I pray that this message blesses you. You need the good, but you also need the bad. They're both important. The good, the bad are just the bad days are just as important as the good days. So I love you all. Be blessed. Bye.